All right, here we go. We are live.
Hello.
Hello,
Welcome,
hello.
welcome.
Today we have Stephanie Hall, the most amazing sister in the
Woo,
whole wide world.
woo, woo.
I can't believe she made it today. She probably can't talk because she's got the most crappiest internet in the whole wide world. It was second most. But she's here. She's trying to support
I
me
can
no matter
talk
what. Oh, you can talk? Dang it. I was hoping you wasn't going to be able to.
sometimes.
Sometimes. Okay. We got Janine tuning in. Janine's always here to support and get some goodies and
Love,
see if
love,
she can learn a
love.
little something.
My friends,
Um,
my friends.
Yes.
that's right. And of course, my amazing wife that's here, and she did a great training this morning on our call, and everybody raised her up a little bit over there and told her how good she was.
That was
So
great.
that was great, wasn't it? And so today, what we want to talk about what I want to talk about is the importance of list building, right? And I didn't look this up yet, so probably I'm going to have Kristi talk a little bit while I do a little lookup. And what I want to do some talking about is, um, I want to talk about, when you're first getting leads and how to set your expectations of how many sales you should be getting, right? When you're first getting leads, a lot of people think people should just like jump right in and start buying, right? And we were listening to Zig Ziglar on sales, and it's a little outdated, but some of what he talked about said that most salesmen will go out and they'll make a call and they won't make a sale, right? And then they'll go back to the office and then they might make another call to that same person or whatever, and they won't make a sale. And then that's basically it, right? Two
Hmm.
times, three times, maybe. But even, back then, we're talking Zig Ziglar, I think, died around 10 or 11 years ago. And even, so this recording was probably maybe 20 or 30 years ago, right? And he was talking about people would need to be contacted six times or more before they would make a sale. And he said, so, only about 3 to 10% of people would contact people more than six times, which is kind of crazy if you consider that most people don't buy until after six times. So, if most of your sales are coming from after six tries, then you're not really making much money if you're not contacting them more than six times, right? So, that's why email marketing is so important and why it's so important to get people's get people's information to contact them. However, it is that you get their information, right? Email happens to be one of the simplest ways because we can automate it really easy. We can get their email, we can put it into a machine, so to speak, that will send it out. And all you have to do is write one email to send it out to a very large list, up to hundreds of thousands of emails. At one time. And so it makes it pretty simple. So I'm going to have Kristi talk for a minute because I want to look up some actual real numbers,
All
see if
right.
I can get what those numbers are. And you can
Sounds
talk about whatever,
I can talk
doesn't
about
matter.
anything I want to.
Anything you want.
All right. So one of the things that is on my mind right now is my cruise. And I am so excited. It has nothing to do with business, but it kind of can be related to working from home because if you think about it, I like to cruise a lot. I like to vacation a lot. As you know, you always hear me saying, I'm going on vacation here, I'm going on vacation there. And this business affords me that lifestyle because if I had a regular job, I would not be able to take vacation whenever I want to. And so since I was very young, Stephanie says 14.5 days. That's right. Since I was very young, and I'm going to say right about maybe 25 years old or so, I don't know the answer to the age, but I'm gonna say 25 years or so. I began network marketing. I began internet sales. And in the beginning, when I did it, I did a lot of stuff online. I sold everything. I sold memberships, I sold phone cards, I sold this, I sold that. And then I transformed into selling personalized gifts. My husband and I, Jim, we went to the mall and we purchased a gift, and it had both of our names on it. So it was a certificate and it had both of our names on it and said forever in love, yada yada. And we thought, this would be really a fun, cool thing to sell. So we built a website, we purchased the program, we got the paper to do it, a printer, and we started selling personalized gifts, and we made a lot of money. One year we made, six figures. We had our first $25,000 month with those products, but we did not get to take a vacation. There was no time for traveling here or traveling there. Now, I did have to fly my mom during Christmas, fly my mom into our home because I needed help doing them.
Mm,
I couldn't keep up with all the orders during Christmas time. So,
mm,
and I loved spending time with my mom, but it didn't afford us the ability to go on vacation. So, um, HBA and Freedom Crusader type mentality started really getting me thinking, I need residual income. I need to be able to travel, be able to do the things that I love. And uh, it really plays into that mentality. When you can work from home, when you can have a laptop lifestyle. Now, they have internet on the cruise. And last time I was on the cruise, I did purchase the internet package because I thought, I might do some work from the cruise, but I didn't. And this time I'm not doing that. I'm saying, I have put in the work and I'm going to take this vacation. So I did do a couple of tutorials in preparation. So with technology, with AI, with autoresponders, what we're talking about today, I can leverage those things so that even while I'm on a cruise, or even last weekend, Jim and I went on vacation to Stephanie's son's birthday. They live almost 5 hours away. So we were gone Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We didn't get back until Monday, no, Sunday night. So I leveraged the tools that we have, and I was able to continue making money even while we were gone. And I plan to do the exact same thing while I'm on the cruise. I've leveraged my free time, so I was able to double up on my work. I leverage internet marketing. I'm leveraging the autoresponder. I'm leveraging the funnel builder. I'm using all of those tools so that I can continue making money even when I'm cruising. Now, Stephanie, she has a traditional job. So she only gets paid. Nothing wrong with this. If this is what you want to do with your life, she has a very, very special skill set and a very special job. She helps children like you wouldn't believe. And we need people in the world that do that. I can't help any. Actually, we do help feed starving children. With every sale we make, part of it goes to feed my starving children. So I do, in a way, get to help children, but she is in their homes. She is actually, going and making a difference that way. And I know she can do some of her work from home. I've seen her do it. But she would have to take vacation time to actually go on vacation.
mm-hmm.
And that is not, that to me, that is not time freedom. That is not what I have worked my entire life to do. And not to say that having a job is bad by any means. I had a job for years. But there comes a time in your life where you say, okay, I'm going to leverage the tools that are here and I'm going to live the life that I want to, because I love to travel and I never want to stop. So Jim, did you get any time to do any research with all that? I just blabbed
I
on.
I got a little bit here, and it kind of goes along with what I sort of have heard. And like I said, we heard this from a valid source, so it wasn't like I was just throwing out numbers. I just knew that it was a little bit outdated. So this source, and I'm going to share my screen just to actually show it. This source is emailtooltester.com. I don't know exactly how valid this is, but it says how many touch points do different leads require before a sale. While 8 touch points might be a valid average, the number of actual touch point a sale requires can vary between 1 and 50, depending on the buying stage. Inactive customers, which means customers that have actually bought from you before, need only 1 to 3 touches on average. So that's a pretty good number, right? It's a lot easier to get a sale from someone that's purchased from you before, and they still need up to 3 touches in order to get them to buy from you again. A warm inbound lead will need 5 to 12 touches. That's somebody that knows you, likes you, and trusts you fairly well. Not hot, not an active customer, but or not an inactive customer, but a warm lead, a friend needs 5 to 12 touches. And then a cold prospect, which you could include as, maybe a brand new Facebook friend or a solo ad lead, right? There's a lot of people that like to do actual paid marketing online. A cold prospect can require 20 to 50 touches. We're talking, if you did an email a day, we're talking 50 days, right? Almost 2 whole months. If you do an email a week, we're talking a whole year, up to a whole year. And probably more if you're doing an email a week, right? Because it's going to take longer to get in, to keep in touch with somebody if you're only reacting once a week to someone. So these are just some things to keep in mind, that there's a good chance, there's a pretty good chance that people won't buy from you until you have made contact with them up to 20 times. Now, keep this in mind. That's 20 times you've actually reached them, right? Let's say you have a 50% open rate. You're talking about 40 emails sent to 100 emails sent, right? So now some of those might open every one. Some of them might click on a lot of your stuff. Some of them, obviously, they're going to buy sooner, but you could expect, like I had somebody the other day that bought, that was on my list for a year and a half. That kind of thing happens from time to time. And I've heard Mike and Paul talk about people buying that have been on their list for years. Now, maybe some of those are past people that bought years and years ago, that maybe this is just now the right time. Not saying that, they've never bought anything from them again. Are we talking again about inactive customers? Talking about a little different market there, maybe, but 20 to 50 times for a cold prospect. So just to throw that out there, to keep in mind what your expectations need to be, because a lot of people have this feeling that they can just send somebody to their page or their video sales letter and get sales. But that is very unusual. If you get 1% sales off of there, that's pretty high, right? Because that just doesn't really happen much. So you have to be collecting the leads. You have to be doing something to get those people into your autoresponder. Okay. So probably enough talk about that. And then we're going to head on over to our actual autoresponder box. Janine, anything you got to say, add, ask before we get into the nitty gritty?
Yes, sir. Actually, Diane Hogman said when she's talking to somebody, she will not go on and on about telling them stuff. She'll say, let me have your email address and I'll send them a newsletter.
Right.
She said they will do that. They will do that. Instead of sitting
Absolutely.
there in a chat box, trying to get to know each other or whatever,
Right. Right. Yeah. And I try pretty hard not to explain my business to people. Like if somebody says, tell me all about it. No, here's the link. If you want to learn all about it, go over here. Now, have I lost sales that way? Yes, I have lost sales that way.
Mhm.
Have I gained sales that way? Yes, I've gained sales that way. Um, Here's my thought on that process is if I try to explain everything to you, there's a couple of problems. Either I mess it up, or I mess it up for you, or you think you have to explain it all to the next person, right? Which
Mhm.
which is sort of like messing it up for you, right? Because if I got to go on for a half an hour to talk you in, not necessarily talk you into it, but talk you into understanding what it is, and you feel like now you're going to have to do that to the next person, how likely are you going to want to do that? You know, but if
Yeah,
I can just say, hey, here's my link, go check it out, um, you can do that, right?
right, right.
So,
Because, really, in 30 minutes, you are not going to be able to explain the funnel builder.
right,
Not, not with all the awesomeness that is in that particular
Right. And
platform.
we're never going to be able to explain it the way Mike and Paul explain it in the sales process because they have spent years and hours creating that content with editing and their vision. And when we get on the phone with somebody or get into somebody's inbox or chat box, we're nervous. We forget something. We say something the way they're not hearing it. We're not using, all of the ways people learn. We're not using every single way. Where when Mike and Paul are doing their sales process, they're targeting people that need every single way to learn, not just the way we're teaching. So it's very important that we put as much abilities to the sales process as we can. And if somebody isn't willing to go and watch the video, they're probably not the type of person that we want to work with. That's just
Bingo.
my 2 cents.
That's high. I'm
right.
with you. Yeah.
Because if they can't watch a video to get started, they probably won't watch a video to get going, right? So they probably won't stick around long enough to keep going either. And that's who we're looking for. We're looking for those people that will keep going because a lot of people will call this a side hustle or a side business or a small business or a work at home opportunity, but this is a business. This is a real multi-million dollar, I call it a franchise type business
Mhm.
because it's a system that works, right? So you're buying into a system that works for $25,
Mhm.
and there's everything's included to help you make it work. You just
Mhm.
have to add in the love. We've talked about the love the last couple of days,
That's
and
right.
that's basically you pour in the love and it starts pumping away. So let's go on into the content of this day, I guess we'll call it, our daily-ish. I actually am still on my great job screen where I just sent my email. We're going to come in here. When I go into, did you have something
I
to
was
say?
just going to say, great job.
Great job. Um, when I go into my get response, I see a lot of people use get response a lot of different ways. The way I use it most is I use this contact button only. You can get to everything you need to from this contact button, with the exclusion of your initial setup. In your initial setup, you have your API and your emails and domains. These two things you'll use when you first set it up, and then that's the last time you'll ever use anything else. You'll always use contacts from there on out. Now, I have a lot of lists because Kristi and I use it, and I end up adding a list for basically everything I ever do. If I add a new traffic source, I'll add a list. If I add a new idea, I'll add a list. So you'll probably never have as many lists as I do. Outside of that, all you have to do is to create a autoresponder. Now let's talk about autoresponders for a minute. An autoresponder is what attaches to your capture page. So if you are trying to capture leads, you would use a page like this that has a form on it. We use several different ones. I use one like that. I use one like this one here. Looks a little different. I use one like this. Let's see, like this one. Maybe this one. I use one like this. This is one of my favorite ones for super cold traffic, for things like cheap leads coming from stuff, like traffic exchanges, solo ads. This one works really well for that. Now, remember, you got to do your 20 to 50 touches after this. You're probably not going to start making sales right away. But this capture page tends to get about 70 to 85% of the leads that come to it. So about 70 out of 100. If the lead source is pretty good, if the lead source is real good, 85 out of 100 will put in their email to this. So you can tell pretty well how good a lead source is. If you use a capture page like this and you get 10 out of 100, I wouldn't use that lead source anymore because that lead source is not any good. If you get less than that, I would not use it for anything. If you get less than 35 or 40 out of 100 on any capture page, you got to really question your lead source because probably your lead source is bad, probably not your capture page, unless your capture page is just really, really, really poor. But you should be able to get about, I average about 70% on this capture page. Okay, so this capture page connects to a list in our autoresponder, and then it sends out an autoresponder email. And the way that works is we come in here, and I'm going to go ahead and create a list just for this live. So I'm just going to make this list. I'm going to make this daily, call it daily-ish live, right? And we'll create a list. So it's that easy to create a list. And then when you create a list, you see how some of these have a little more information on them. The better you name your list, the better it is, because when someone goes to opt off of your list or unsubscribe from your list, they'll see the name of the list and they'll see this bit of information about what the list is about. So it gives them a chance to not unsubscribe. Okay. So just for instance, let's say that I'll go here and we'll go in here to the settings. And in the settings, you would want to put in your list title, and you might put in daily-ish live. Jim, I like to put in my name because people tend to remember the person's name that they were associated with. And then you might put in list description, affiliate marketing leaders, daily live content at 3 p.m. Join us for valuable content about affiliate marketing and other email and marketing related content. Okay, so if you give them a lot of information, even though that's kind of vague, there's a lot of information there that when they see that, when they go to unsubscribe, they'll be like, oh yeah, that's that thing where those guys, they go on there and they talk for an hour, and they're great people, right? So I want to stay on their list. And some of them will stay. It's almost like an exit pop-up, right? It's your last chance to get them to stick around. If it just said daily-ish, then it's hard to say, and it didn't have a list description. It's hard to say if they would recall what that was about. Some people will put my open list, and a lot of people are not going to stay around if they know that that's your open list. So make it a little better, and people will stick around when they go to opt out. The rest of it doesn't matter too much. I usually just make this education. You can put in a file here, and I do think it might show up on the unsubscribe page. I know it does in Aweber, but I'm not certain that it does in GetResponse. So I would usually say go ahead and put something there, and I would put in, for this one, I might put in something like this. It's Jim Kristi, and I would just put that there, and then I would probably put in our website address, right? And we would just put that here. So now we got our page all set up. You don't have to worry about the subscription and confirmation message for what we do. So I'm not going to go into those. And then I will go back to the contacts page. And then all your new lists, the way that I sort things, the new list is always down here at the bottom. Now you'll just come in here and you'll go to show autoresponders. See what we got for a message here. If I leave, we are having a bad storm. Okay. If you leave, I won't hold it against you, Janine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in here, we have an autoresponder. So we're going to go ahead and create our autoresponder. You can use AI. I usually just do it by myself. The AI does seem to be decent. Now, this first one is a day 0 autoresponder. And your day 0, in most cases, you're going to send one out as soon as somebody opts into your capture page. So I usually name this one day 0. I make this day 0 here and the same time as sign up. Now, the only time that I ever change this to a different time than same time is let's say that I opt them into 2 different lists at the same time. Like, for instance, when people join me at HBA and they join both the funnel builder and premium, I have the funnel builder training to be 3 hours different than the premium training, so that they get a premium training email, and then in a couple hours later, they get a HBA training email.
I have an example also. When I am gathering leads for my baking business, I have 2 email series. Just like we're saying, the first one is when they request to be on the tutorial list. So I'm going to send them a weekly email of baking tutorials. But the second thing I ask them is if they're open to learning ways to make money outside of baking. And if they say yes, that's a second autoresponder, and they're going to get that a few hours later. So they're not getting them back to back. And then that'll be 2 separate email series that they'll get.
And they'll get them the same day. They'll just get them a few hours later. And it gives Kristi a little bit more know, like, and trust factor by the time they get that. Oh, by the way, here's that other way to make money. They've already seen more stuff about her bakery and stuff. So it's pretty cool to be able to do that. And you can do that right here. You can pull this down and you can do with the delay of or exactly at. And there's another thing you can do here is, let's say that you end your email with, hey, I'll see you at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. You can put right here for exactly at 7 a.m. And then you can actually do time travel. And what this time travel does is, this means 7 o'clock a.m. in each time zone around the world. So no matter where it is, it will show up at 7 o'clock in the morning. So a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people like to do that. Like, I'll see you first thing tomorrow. And then they'll know to expect their emails early tomorrow. Now, what is first thing? I don't know. So you might want to use an exact time in that situation, because first thing to some people is 4 a.m. First thing to me is like 11 o'clock, so so anyways, now what I was saying though is this first one, you pretty much want it in most cases to be right here as soon as they sign in, so that they get it. And that also means you don't want any of these to be not checked, because you want it to be every day of the week. Then you want to make sure it's coming from the right email address. In this case, I would probably change this to affiliate marketing leaders, because that's where we're coming from this time. Right here, Jim and Kristi Hall, affiliate marketing leaders. And then we would do our subject line. AI subject line. I don't really want to do that. We'll just do day one of the day's email lessons.
As Stephanie said, so on the cruise, you can use that in the different time zones. Hashtag freedom.
Hashtag freedom.
Yep.
So then there's this preview text. And this preview text, what it does is, like this second line of text, you see how it says right here, live at 3 p.m. Eastern? That is that preview text. See, this one says we weren't able to charge the credit card you provided. Oh, that you don't even see that. That one is actually probably right in the first line of that. See, if you don't put in this live at 3 p.m., it'll take from this first line inside of the email, like it did here. You see, it says, friend, if you've been following my emails for a while, it actually took that right from here. So you can get a bit of a different message in there if you do that preview text right here. So you could say, we'll be training about emails today, so stop by. Right? And then when we get into our message, come in here to our message, I always use blank templates, and I always use the preview template. Now, you don't have to. You can come into these, but in our industry, affiliate marketing, most of these don't really line up too much. They're a little too flashy. They don't really follow anything. But if you wanted to use one of these for a business or something, there's a lot of them in here. They're very website-y looking, and you could do that. I just use a blank template and use this one. Now, typically what I use is I turn this first logo off. And again, you could use this logo and you could put a picture in there, just like that picture, add an image here, and you could put in this picture like we used back there. Now, you see why I wouldn't want to use that. It's so super big. So you'd have to get a really specific picture to put in there as your logo, or a sideways picture, so that it's not so big and in your face when you start that. So this just doesn't usually work very good. So I usually turn it off. Then we go to general, or we go to layout rather. And I usually put in a text. And then I go back and I usually put in an image. And then I go back and I usually put in a text. And then I usually go to this sections area and I put in one of these two-way ones if I can get it to go in there. A lot of times it does this silly game where it doesn't want to go in there. And then what I end up doing is moving these like this till I get it where I want it.
So you put all your boxes first.
I put all my boxes first, okay? Because the way I usually write my emails is a little text, an image for the text, a little text, my sign-off box, and then I put a little more text for my PS, okay? And that's basically the way I do it. And then if I don't end up doing it this way, these won't show up. So they're fine to be there either way, okay? So then I would just put in like part of my body, and then I would put in, let's say, we'll go with this image here. And then remember, anytime you put an image in, you want to have a link to it. If you don't put a link on it, there's no point in having an image in your picture in your um, email. So an image in your email puts a little bit of emphasis on it being spam. So if you're going to use a picture, you want to make sure that there's a link on it. Because also, and another good tip is use something. Let me show you this. I'll replace this one with, let's say, blurry. See if we get anything. So let's say we'll do, let's say we use this one. Okay. Now, a blurry picture will tend to make people click on it to see if they can see it better, right? So once you do that, now you've got your link in there and it's going to go straight to your link. And by the time they click that, they're going to forget all about what they were clicking on it for, and they're over on your page. Okay. This is really good with like claims. You know, if you're claiming that you've made so much money, just get it to there where you can just barely see it. Like if you're talking about, hey, this is how much money I made, and then you throw in there and it's just blurry enough that you can't make it out. And then people will click on it so that they can try and see it. And now they're over at your website and squirrel syndrome kicks in and they don't even know what has happened. Okay. So this is a good tactic. Now, this is one you don't want to use all the time, obviously, because people will start to catch on to this, but it works pretty well. So then, of course, you want so what I'll do is I'll usually talk into the picture and then I'll kind of talk out of the picture. Does that make sense? So so I'll always have an idea of what my picture is going to be before I start talking it. Then I'll finish my story. And then I'll end up with my link to whatever. And I try to have my link be my domain. If you can have your domain from your email, the same email that you're sending with, be the domain that you're sending people to, it helps your deliverability again. So in this case, we're sending from Affiliate Marketing Leaders, so we're also sending people to Affiliate Marketing Leaders. Now the slash after that doesn't matter, you're still on the same domain. Okay. And then here we're going to go ahead and put in we got to put an image in here, and then we got to put a block in here. So we're going to go back to here. We're going to put our text in here. We're going to put a picture of me and Kristi here. So we're going to go back over to files. Now we'll use this one. Same thing. I'm going to shrink this up a little bit. This is a pretty big picture, but that's fine. And we could probably come in here and there's somewhere in here that you could edit. Probably come in here and just square it up and save it. That's a little better. And
Very
then in
nice.
here, we could just say Jim and Kristi Hall. And I usually say talk soon. Jim and Kristi Hall, Freedom Crusaders. Now you can also save these and they will save down here in my blocks. Like you can see some of my saved ones here. And then you can just pull these in here and save a little time. But what I normally do is duplicate all these. So I don't normally actually start with a blank. I'm just showing a blank. And then I'll show you what I mean here in a few minutes. And then after that, you have your PS. So down here, you have your PS. Oh, and don't forget, you're going to add a link to this also, because for some reason, people click on these. About 30% of my clicks come from my image clicks and my picture of us clicks. And then down here, you're going to go ahead and have your PS, and it's kind of hiding on me because of this bar. Well, I can move this bar all the way over to another screen. How about that? PS. This is a good place to PSs. I like to usually do something for the readers that don't want to read. So you could kind of encapsulate everything, or you can just say, did you want a home business? Kind of a little simplification, but and then you could say link here. Right.
Stephanie does have her hand up.
Go ahead, Steph.
So I'm not the at-home business person, as you know, but I was just thinking that a great picture would be me and Kristi on the cruise. So
For sure. Lifestyle is one of our things that we have in our really or rely formula that Kristi talks about a lot. The way to send value to your list. Lifestyle is one of those ways. And it shows that, you know, you're getting out, you're using some of this money, you're using some of this freedom. And so are a lot of these pictures that I send is from like hotels and things that are pretty nice, you know, and just show, you know, like a lot of them come from parks and places like that. Now, another thing I forgot to show a lot of people have a big challenge with is how do you put in people's first name? So this little guy with this pencil tool has the first name tool in it. And it also has the email tool in it. So you can put first name here. And then you could also put, like, if someone signs up for something with me, a lot of times I will also say, hey, you can go sign up here and use your email. So where's email? Right here. Use your email to sign. This is the email you can use to sign up with. You can use to sign in with. And that will sometimes help them get back into the system. And so that's the two things. That's the two that are most commonly used in an email. So so that's pretty much the idea of how I write an email. Obviously, I didn't write much body, but and then another thing I do is once I get it all written, I come in and I change it all to the font that I like. And I use Verdana 16 for all of my spaces. And I just Control A to select those and do 16. And the same thing on each block. And you want all your blocks to be the same size, even your PS. You want to try not to make anything stand out different, except for whatever you want to stand out different. You know, if you want to highlight something, then obviously highlight it, but you don't want your PS to stand out unless that's your intent. And then you go to next. And then we're going to go down here and save. Save and publish. Save will save it. Oh, I forgot to do something. Okay. So one of the spots I almost always forget is right in the start of it. Glad that happened. Right in the start of it is this little thing that you have to select the list. So you have to make sure that you actually change that to the list. Even though we went into the list where it should have been, it always puts the default list there of Jim Hall. Luckily, I don't have any autoresponders there, so they're always easy to find when that happens. But as you saw, I have a whole bunch of messed up ones there because this happens to me all the time. Once you do that, then you can go back in and update it, and it will go. You can go to contacts then, and you can go all the way down to the bottom, show autoresponders, and there it is, and it's on. Now, if you only save, this will be off, and so they won't actually be sending. So you have to save and publish to turn it on, or you have to make sure you turn it on. Okay. And then for your second email, what I would normally do then is I would come in here and I would just duplicate. You come to those three dots there and push duplicate. And then all you have to do is do change to day one, change to day one, change your subject line to day two, blah, 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 whatever your change is. change this message, right? And then edit your message. And then, you could replace this image with a nice little cinnamon roll,
Mm.
right? Now these also can be left aligned depending on, which way you want here. You got left and right align here, center align. There are some advanced settings too for padding and stuff. I don't usually use any of this stuff, but these I do use some, especially the center and left. And then one thing I do tend to forget is I forget to change my PS a lot. So be cautious of that if you are duplicating. So good to change your PS. Good to change your PSs. Okay, and then all you have to do again is say next. Now, let's say that your list is already active. You've got 50 people on your list. They've been there a couple of days, and you've decided to put in another autoresponder day. You only had day 0. Now you just put day 1 in. When you come down here and you push save and publish, there's a little box that's going to pop up that's going to say there's already 50 people on your list. Do you want to send it to those people? Okay. And this is my recommendation. If it's the end of your list, and I mean the end of your autoresponders, and you're only putting in 1 day, I would say go ahead and send it. Or be mindful that you only want to send 1 of them. So if you're going to put in 4 more, just be mindful and don't send all 4 of them. Hopefully that makes sense. And I'm looking at the people in the Zoom room instead of my camera. I'm trying to actually talk to the camera, but I'm talking to you guys in the Zoom. So so that's something to keep in mind. It will ask you if you want to send to them, and it's definitely a good thing to send to them. Just be careful that you don't send 4 or 5 emails direct to them, one after the other, because now it's not going to ask that question for this one because I don't have anybody on this list because we just made it. But like I just went in and added one to one of my training lists, and I wanted that to go out to those people. And so that's a good thing to do for that. Okay. So now we've got 2 emails in there, and the same thing. We can just keep duplicating until we've got as many as we want in there. Makes it a lot faster to do the duplication process. Now, you can also, and it's good to show you this, you can also duplicate these and change this to another list and then basically duplicate lists, because this will duplicate this same message over to another list, which is what I do a lot. I'll create a new list and then I'll duplicate all my emails from a different list over to that list. And that's how I end up doing so many different lists without having to rewrite my emails and stuff. So that's just another little tip there. Okay. Now that one, as you see, is off because I didn't actually save it. I didn't publish it. So I'm not going to turn it on. And so that's about all there is to know about autoresponders. Now keep in mind, autoresponders send out automatically to your list of the people that are on that list in a sequence day after day after day after day, right? So what's the difference between an autoresponder and a newsletter? Okay, so we're going to go back to contacts.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Inquiring minds want to know, right? Now, for newsletters, what I normally do is I send from my default list, because I tend to check my results on them, and I don't want them to be all strewn out in amongst and around my lists. So I don't want to have to go hunt down my results. So now I go to my default list and I come here to show newsletters, and you can see that all my newsletters are on this list. And this is where you can see that I'm getting, what my results are. I've got 33% open rate, 37% open rate, 37% open rate, 38% open rate, 39% open rate, 41% open rate. Now, if I wanted to send to different lists, I wouldn't want to have to go to all those different lists to find my results. So I can get them all from this one list. Okay. Now I do the same thing typically is after I write an email, I'll come in here and reuse it. They don't have a duplicate, but it's called reuse in here. And so I'll come in here and I'll reuse, and all of the things are the same as far as writing it, creating it, and all of that. The difference is now our linked list here is just where it puts it in this case. Okay. It's not where it sends it. It's only like where it stores it, like I just showed you there. Okay. And then of course you have your from email address, and this can be from any of your email addresses. It doesn't really matter where you send from, except for whatever you want it to show up to the lists that you're sending to. Like Kristi shares our get response. So she does send from her basically default list. So all of hers are in her area and all of mine are in my area. And she sends from her email list, her email address and her reply to. Hopefully that's making sense. And so now you'll change your subject line, you'll change your preview text, just like before. Your little guy here, we have him too. He will make a little box here instead, just to show you that. For some reason, he makes this little box instead of the little brackets around him, a little bubble, but it still works the same way. And then, so in order to decide where you want to send it to, you need to use this update recipients. Okay. Now, your update recipients, you'll go in here and you'll select all of the lists that you want to send to. Now, like I said before, most people won't have as many lists as I do. So you'll probably just click like your one list. Okay. Now, something to keep in mind is I like to put everybody on a list that buys stuff from me, depending on what that stuff is. And so for HBA, what I like to do is I have a couple of different lists that they're on. So let me just type in HBA, and you can see I have a Let's Go training app list. I have a traffic and conversions training list, and I have an HBA funnel builder training list. And so when someone buys from me, I'll add them to these lists. Okay. And then normally when I send to my list, if it's a very selly email, I will come in here and I'll take this and I'll exclude those lists so that I make sure not to send to those emails. Okay, so the same thing, I will type in here HBA, and then I'll make sure to not send to those. Now I have them selected as sending to them on the other list, so I'll have to check those off. The reason for this is it'll actually take the emails that are on those lists that might be on some of my other lists, and it will say, I don't want to send to these people, even though they're on the list that I'm sending to, and it'll stop sending to those people. That way I'm not bothering them with, hey, get the app for 40% off, because you've already got it, or whatever. So that's something that's pretty useful to know about that, is that's excluding recipients. This is including recipients. So that's one way that you can get a little more use out of the recipients thing. Then the same thing, the edit message thing is exactly the same as doing a autoresponder. And then I don't do anything with this. This is probably valuable, but I don't do anything with it. I always leave click tracking on. I don't do any Google Analytics. If you're not making sales, keep adjusting until you make sales. This Google Analytics, I don't think is really going to help you a whole lot. I don't even know where it goes, to be honest. So then this is probably the most important part, is you have send immediately, which means as soon as you're done typing up this email, you can send it out. Or you can send it immediately, but it won't go until perfect timing, meaning whenever they are most likely to look at it, it will show up in their box. Okay. And so that's one way that you can use that. Now you can also schedule for later. Okay. And with schedule for later, like the email I sent before this call, I sent it out for 5 minutes until 3. And I just did. So like I would set it up for tomorrow for 5 minutes until 3. like this, and then I would send it out. That would be a scheduled email. Now, if I wanted to send it for tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, I would set this for 7 o'clock. And I would push time travel, right? And that's going to come up and it's going to do that thing around the world at the right time all the way around the world. And you can see I've got people in different parts all around the world. It's showing exactly how many are going to get it at those times. Okay. Now, if I wanted something to go out at perfect timing, but I didn't want it to start today, this is the way I send a lot of my emails, is I will do my emails for tonight at 12:01 a.m. And then I'll do perfect timing. And what that does is it waits until after midnight and then it starts sending them out all day tomorrow at perfect timing. Okay. And what this is good for is if you're pretty consistent, this will make sure that you're not overlapping your emails. Because if you're not careful and you send an email out, let's say right now at 3:56 on perfect timing, and then tomorrow you send an email out at 2:56 on perfect timing, you still got an hour that people are getting emails from yesterday, and you'll end up sending 2 emails out during that hour because you have yesterday's perfect timing and today's perfect timing, and they'll end up overlapping each other, and some of those people will get 2 emails back to back. So the best way to do it is just make sure that you're sending those perfect timing emails out at the same time every day. If you're only sending out emails once a week or every other day or every 3 days or whatever, you can get by with just the perfect timing. But if you're sending pretty consistently every day, this is a good way to go about sending. Let's see. Let's go into yeah.
Jim, I got a question.
Okay.
I may have missed, I know for sure I missed it, but when you were talking about PS, is that just like PS, like you would write at the end of a letter, PS, blah, blah, blah? Or does that mean something different?
No, that's all it means. I find that in email marketing, it tends to be, it's 50-50 kind of, right? It can be for the people that you want to remind of something that you wrote. It can be like a regular letter postscript PS, or you can put it in there for the people that don't want to read your letter and are just kind of skimmers and you want to get the main point across to them. So it just depends on.
Yeah, because when I was hearing you say that, I was thinking, that's very often what I remember, what I read, what I remember. I might have a 2-page email or whatever, but if someone writes PS, that tends to be what I kind of focus on. So I wasn't sure if that meant something different or not.
No, that's what it is. And it's one of those things again. It kind of depends on your list, right? It kind of depends on how your readers read. You got to kind of watch. This is something I can show too, is if we go into, let's go into one of mine that have been used for a while. If we go to show newsletters, maybe I'm not sure I clicked on the right button there. Okay, so let's go down here to see if I've got any that have had some decent amount of clicks. I'm still not getting as many clicks as I'd like to get, honest. But let's go in here to reports and let's go to opens and clicks. And if we go in here to view the click map, we can see where people are clicking on, right? 37 people or 80% clicked on my link right here. And 9 people or 20% clicked on my link right here. So you can start to look at this. And like this one, I don't have a PS, right? So you can't tell where people are clicking. But if we did have a PS, you could start watching. Are they clicking more on the PS or are they clicking more on this link? Now this one, I don't have a picture in it, right? So we could go back and look at another one. Now, a lot of these lately that I've been sending to my lives, I don't have images in the middle of. Now this one, you've pretty much missed out. Let's see what our preview, whoops, not preview. You've pretty much missed out. Let's go to reports. And we can go to open and clicks. And then we can see, view the click map. And so 11 or 25% clicked on the link right at the top. 25% clicked on the image link. 30% clicked on check it out. 18% clicked on my image here. Oops, I didn't put a link in my yes. So you can see that you can start to tell where people are clicking at and find out what's working, right? So this is a really useful tool. And this is part of why I put them all in the same area. You could see how it could get really confusing to start putting all of my newsletters and all of my different lists, because heck, you'd go through a struggle trying to find them all, right? So that's the reason, and you can see now that you can find out some of that information without Google Analytics, right? Like I showed, I don't use Google Analytics. I just use the reports for that. Okay, I want to show two more things before we go. It is 4 o'clock already. And so what I'm going to do is, this list doesn't have any people. So you got to kind of play along with me, because I don't want to show any actual contacts, but I do want to show this information. If I show contacts, YouTube will take down my video. But if you go to your contacts, there's an advanced search right here, okay? And in this advanced search, there's all of these conditions, okay? These conditions are how to sort your list, okay? Some of the important ones here are things like contact actions and autoresponder day. This is one that we use a lot, is equal to, and then we use is greater than, and what we typically use is 4, because that's how many autoresponders we tend to put on our list, is 4 days of autoresponders. And then when you push apply here, it will show you all of the people that are past 4 days on your autoresponder. I know that's a little hard to understand when there's nobody actually there, but what we do is we have all of our people come on and they're on our autoresponders for 4 days, and we don't want to send our daily newsletters out to them while they're on our autoresponder, because we don't want to break up their pattern of autoresponders, and we don't want to be sending them 2 emails while they're on our autoresponders. Okay, so once they get to the end of 4 days, then what we do is they'll be here, and if they're cold, or like if they're coming from our Facebook groups or our solo ads, we'll also come in here and we'll say contact actions, message not opened, any message, never. And if there's anybody here, this means these people didn't open any of our message, which basically means they probably gave us a bad email. They thought they could get our lead magnet for free, so they just put in some kind of silly email address, figuring they could go to the next page, grab our stuff, and be gone and never have to worry about hearing from us. And we just really don't want them on our page, on our autoresponder. So at this point, what we would do is we would select them and we would delete all of these off of our autoresponder, off of our list, okay? Then we would take this and we would exit off of this. And then anyone that's left here, we would then select them and we would move them over to our main list, okay? So let me show you that real quick. So our main list, if I type in main here, you see we have Kristi's list, her WAHBB main list, and my list, my affiliate marketing leaders main list. This is mainly where we email our newsletters to. And then all of our other lists are our basically like feeders lists, right? Let me exit off of here. Come on, exit off. So all of these other lists are like our feeder lists, and we go in here and we clean them up on a normal basis and send them over to our main lists. so that they're getting their emails the proper way. And so I'm not saying you should have multiple lists, 2 lists or 3 lists, but if you want to keep your autoresponder cleaner, see, we keep getting close to 10,000 contacts on our autoresponder. And after 10,000, the price goes way up. So we keep cleaning it to make sure that that price doesn't go way up. And that's how you do that. So that's what I have for today. I'm not going to stop my share just yet because I'm going to show you our page that you're on, hopefully. If somebody sent you here, you would be on this page. I don't know why that is still counting down. That's bad because that means, okay, that's fine. Okay, so this is the page that you should be on. This is sort of the whole point of this, right? Is to get here, learn from us, learn how our heart-centered community can better serve you while you seek prosperity online and drastically increase your earning potential with our 80% residual commissions. And if you click this button right here, whoever sent you here will get, let me refresh. I can't refresh the page right now or it won't work. But this won't work. This is not going to work too good. Because I don't have the right URL up there, this isn't going to work for us today. Click on this button. You can get over to the all-in-one business. You can get started with us for just $25. There is a little button as you check out that you can get the Traffic and Conversions Academy for 2 weeks for free. Let me check and see if we have any new comments while I've been blabbering for the last hour. And no, just Kristi saying, welcome, welcome, everyone. And we will do this show and give value to your leads every day-ish, 2 or 3 or 4 times a week, and give value and hopefully make sales for you, right? That's the point of this. Down here at the very bottom, look, there's all these replays we do every day. There should be 4 or 5 in here. And then there's a bunch of other value on the page about what we do, how we help feed my starving children. That's what it's called, right? Feed my starving children.
Yeah.
Yeah. I end up saying save my a lot of times instead of feed my. And then there's some social proof here of other people making sales. And then there's some Q&A here. And this right here is where you can put in your affiliate token once you become a member. And this page will actually replicate for you. And I'm going to put my name in here and show you how this replicates. Unfortunately, right now I have the page saved in a kind of funny way, where when I replicate this, there's timers. So a lot of this information is going to disappear off the page. And I did this to clean it up so that it looks nice and pretty when people first get here. But after a few minutes, the buttons all pop up and it ends up looking, oops, like it did. That's now gone. So that's all we have for today. We hope that you get started with us. It's a great business. We do so much for the community. It is 80% commissions on all the products. One of the things that I do say a lot is that you can make, with one sale, you can make $74,000 a year. With 2 sales, one sale a week or 2 sales a week, you can make $150,000 a year. With 3 sales a week, you can make $225,000 a year if those customers stick around, because they actually pay us month after month for all the customers that we bring to the company. They don't do like a lot of affiliate programs do, where it's a one-time payment. What is she sharing with us? My to-do list, your planner. She just came here to brag, right?
Yeah, that's right.
The amazing sister came here to brag about her cruise she's taking my wife away on. And during those couple days, I'll be gone because I have to go to no internet land, where all the beautiful
It's sister land. You're visiting your parents and spending time with your parents.
That is true. Negativeville
and my
land.
dog. and yes, and my dog.
And your dog. Sounds like a real hoot.
It's good to have that freedom.
Right? Woohoo! No, I'm looking forward to it. I am. It's a good time up there.
And then we go again in November.
Yeah, we're gonna leave from the Freedom Fest in November and go on a 7-day cruise out of Texas. So that's gonna be pretty exciting.
Where are you
So-
going?
We're going to where are we going?
He doesn't know. I'll tell you the Western Caribbean.
The Western Caribbean.
Exciting.
We're going to eat lots of food.
We are
Oh.
going on Carnival's newest ship, the Jubilee.
The Prosperity.
I've never been on a
That-
cruise. I want to go on one.
You should come with us, Janine.
Oh my!
It's practically free. That's what they
We're-
say.
That's what they say.
Kristi is seriously going totally for free on this cruise we're going on next week in 2 weeks.
Wow.
4 days for free.
That's
It was-
amazing.
It was $500 and she got a $500 onboard credit. And
And
now
if-
she does have to put up with 3 of my kids and 2 of my grandkids, so that there is that expense. But
She can either gamble that $500 away or she can cash it out when she leaves the cruise and then get a check in a couple of weeks and, just go
Go
for
again.
it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mhm.
We
So-
were gonna go on a
And-
cruise when I turned 60, and that happened to be when COVID hit.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if Steph saw, but there's a new episode of 911 that is the lead people of the show are going on a cruise and the pirates take over the cruise ship.
That is not going to happen to us.
no, I don't watch that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I
you should
got
watch
Kristi
it.
with us. We
Oh yeah,
Kristi is 100% a protector. She will beat them all up.
right.
And if she won't, London will. I mean, she's only 4, but she's pretty tough.
That's right. New subject. Let's say goodbye.
New subject. Okay.
Bye.
All right, guys. I hope this was valuable to
Bye.
everybody. Have a good day. We'll
Love you.
see
Thank you.
all. Love
Thank you.
you.
Love you guys.
You're welcome.
See you
See you
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
tomorrow.
Bye bye.
Bye.